What is up, good people? Crypto Prepper here. Today is Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. So today we're starting out with a fear of and greed index of 35, and we are going to talk about BNB, trying to find the best BNB trading bot settings for 2026. Okay, so let's see. I want to start out today talking about the grid bots. So uh, for today, I'm going to use Kraken instead of Coinbase because BNB was not available on or on Coinbase until I don't remember, somewhere not as far back as Kraken. So anyway, that's why we're using Kraken today. Kraken does have lower fees, so it might be a good place to start out. If you are interested in getting set up with this Bitsgap trading platform, I do have a referral link in the description. If you use that, it does support the channel at no extra cost to you and would be much appreciated. All right, so let's get started with talking about the grid bots on BNB, on Kraken, and I'm going to start out talking about USDT. And so I started out with USDT because this is a lower, you can see the volume on each of these pairings. Actually, the USDC was lower. Um, so let's see, what is the next one? Yeah, the USDC. Okay, so I'm going to start out with USDT. It's typically, I guess I don't want to say typically, I don't know, it just depends. Whichever one is the lowest volume, I think will typically do better on these grid bots. But I start out with USDT because that's what I started out with trying it out, and want to show you how I came to these settings. So I went back to the initial date that BNB was offered on Kraken using USDT, and it was like, oh, um, April 25th of 2025. So then I went onto that candle, measured 50% up and 50% down, and moved my grid to those levels with these little drag. I clicked and dragged it so that it would encompass this entire range. Okay, and then what I did was I took the grid levels from 100 down to 50, and I forgot to turn off the pump protection before. And you can see, let's do a real quick uh, check here. So in this case, with the pump dump protection on, it got 16.9% APY. And I'm going to double check one more thing here. 92.90. Okay, 38. Okay. I was just flopping back and forth between these two tabs to make sure that I'm comparing the exact same range with the low price of 283.90 and 929 20 on USDT. So let's take the pump protection off, and it didn't really make a difference in this. It does make more of a difference in the DCA bots than apparently it does on the grid. So you can see it really good does the grid bots do a really good job of taking advantage of these illiquid wicks. And that's why I was looking at the volume at first and mistakenly thought USDT was lower volume, but USDC is actually a lower volume. All the settings are the same, $1,000 to start out with, the range being the exact same, and pump protection taken off. You can see with this lower volume pairing, it's going to give you more of those illiquid wicks on the upside and on the downside, and the grid bot will take advantage of both ways. So, so that's our benchmark, is to see if we can beat a 20.5% APY using Binance BNB coin in one of these trading bots. Oh, the other thing here, let me see. Okay, so interestingly enough, BNB uh, was available with USDC before it was with USDT, so 3 days earlier. So that might take into effect, or that might take into account some of the change in the APY. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the DCA bots. So that's been the main focus of my channel up until recently, where I'm doing more and more comparison between the grid bot settings that I found that work pretty well and the DCA bot settings. So you can see here on this back test, but this is on USD, not USDC or USDT. So maybe if we think about it, it may make a little bit of a difference. But you can see it still did a good job of taking advantage of those wicks that BNB coin had on Kraken anyway. So we've got a 19% APY, and we've got good activity. I only see about a month here and about a month, yeah, about a month there too. So a little less active than I like to see, but what I look at or what I prioritize over the activity on the back test is the continuation. So this bot still has you protected down to $400 um, for Binance coin, and the grid bot has you protected down to 421. So you can see when I originally set up the settings on this based on the price of about the same price that it is now on April 20, whatever it was, 2025, I measured 50% down and it took me down to like 240. But you can see how with that trailing up, you can't see what it says, but that's what this toggle is here. It's as it moves up, it takes the lower buy orders off so that it can continue to give you some income as the price is moving up. And then that's what brought the bottom up, but luckily it still caught all of the activity and still has you protected down to 420. So we're at some pretty major support being, around this area. Um, Not saying that something couldn't happen and it flashes down here, and this bot will eat that up and give you a nice payday if that happens. Okay, so um, that's the DCA bot. So it didn't quite beat the grid bot as far as like return, but it does still protect you down to that 400 range, so a little bit lower than the grid bot does. So let's talk about the settings on this DCA bot. So as always, we start out with $1,000. We scroll down to our bot settings under manual adjustment, and we change our base order amount to 3125, our averaging orders amount to 968.75. And then with that 19% return, the averaging order step percent is at 8 rather than around the 5 range, which I typically do. Amount multiplier, as always, is on X2. That doubles the amount on each line. Step multiplier, which modifies the distance between those, is all the way off. Our take profit percentage change is 5, and our pump dump protection is off. So you can see I didn't change any settings. And we got a 1949. So for some reason it went from 1935 to 1949. All right, so that is with the price staying exactly flat. Basically, it's been flat this whole year, except for it of course more than doubled and then came back down. So if you were to buy in any of these bots, if you were to just buy $1,000 worth of BNB a year ago, yeah, you'd still have $1,000 worth of BNB. Nice, because you probably were too greedy to sell any at the top here. But these bots feel fear or greed, and they will just continue to buy and sell as the price triggers it. Okay, so 1949. So what I did next was I tried to find um, good bot settings for, if you think this is the bottom and we're going to be going up for the next 6 months, like we did the first 6 months of this range here from April 2025 to October of 2025, we went nothing but up basically. And so what I landed on was averaging order step percentage of 2.5, with everything else being the same. You just see 1,000 here, 3125, 968.75. This is X2. Our take profit is 5, and our risk management pump dump protection is off. And so what I did here was I just went from April 23rd, 2025 to 10/15, which was basically the top of BNB, to try to find um, the best return in a bull market. So here we have quite a bit of activity. Went sideways. Let's see, that's a couple weeks, maybe a week. That's a week. Here's another week, 2 to 3 weeks, maybe. Uh, June 24th to July 9th, so another week there. Then we had a lot of activity. It sold, bot, sold, bot, sold, bot. Made you some nice income going up here and even coming back down. And then you had to wait, a week for that. And then here is 2 weeks, 2.5. So, and then one of the reasons I stopped on 2.5 is it did a beautiful job of capturing this entire liquidation on October 10th. And unlike, I don't think most coins did not come back up into an all-time high. And I don't know if that's an all-time high or not, because this chart only goes back to April of 2025. And I don't know how high BNB actually got before then. So, but these settings did a beautiful job of capturing all that and gave you a 30% return in 6 months. So that's pretty damn good. And even if you were to have held this until now, you started out with 1,000. At this point, you had 1,300 worth, and now you see here. Now you still have. This is actually one with these bot settings. If you didn't stop it and go ahead and take your, oops, I guess here it's actually even worse than that, isn't it? Because your current DCA is 1230 with these settings, and it's gone down 50%. So you're actually less well off if you were to hold this in this bot over this last year with these settings, even with a 30% uh, return in 6 months, because ever since then it's dropped down 50%. Your $1,000 investment is now worth 500 in BNB, and you only have 300 um, in your USD wallet. So that's where it might be better to do a more conservative spread here with this 8% order, the distance between these orders at an 8% rather than a 2.5%. Because, yeah, you're not going to get the return, as much return going up, but it's come all the way back down. And with the 4 limit orders we've got underneath here, you still have 500 on this one, 250, 8, so 750, 825 or 875, and then 60 on top of that. So $880 to continue working for you in this bot plus 193 in your USDC wallet. So even with a lower return with this than you got with the tighter range, you're better off with this. And this is the one with the settings here, the averaging order step percentage at 8%. So it's pretty much a tie between our DCA bot with our more conservative settings here and doing a grid bot. So you could set up a grid bot on if you liked BNB and you only had it on Kraken. It's available on Coinbase now too, but if you were only using Kraken, you could set up two uh, grid bots, one on USD or USDT, one on USDC, and then on USD, you could set up as many DCA bots as you want. So you could do a range between 3.5 or 2.5 to 8 and get that nice return during the bull markets, but then also still be getting paid during the bear. All right, so hopefully that helped you figure out, based on your risk tolerance and your market savviness, I guess I would say, which BNB bot settings would be the best for you in 2026. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, give me a thumbs down. If you want to see more of these videos, subscribe to the channel and leave your favorite coin in the comments, and I'll run some bots for you. All right. Thanks for everything, and see you on the next one.